Lawmakers at the Indiana State House are talking about the impact of some massive legislation being proposed in Washington. The president's American Families Plan sets a standard for things like paid leave, pre-K, and child care, but some lawmakers say these issues should be left up to the states. Here's what lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are telling us this week.
After almost 50 to 75 years of not making significant progress on these major policies, I think there is a role for the federal government to come up with a standard policy that applies across the country and take politics away from the local or the state level.
I would love for the federal government to get back in their domain of managing our defense, managing the world affairs.
You can see more of those interviews on our website. Right now, I want to turn to our panel. Rima Shahid, Laura Wilson, Mike Murphy, Robin Winston with us today. We start with Rima Shahid with Women for Change Indiana. Rima, the American Families Plan, it's certainly costly. How do you compare the cost to the potential benefits for families here in the Hoosier State?
There's definitely a cost to it, but it's so important that we provide relief to Hoosiers and to Americans. What we know is that more women have left the job force. The last time this many women left was during the last pandemic. And if we don't have policies that support women and support families, they're going to continue to leave the job force. And it not just hurts those women, but the overall economy of those individual states and of our government. It's so important that we do this because we have to keep those women in the workforce and support communities and families.
I want to turn now to UIndy political science professor, Dr. Laura Wilson. Laura, the president trying to do a lot of things at once here with these big new policy measures and also still trying to convince more Americans to go out and get vaccinated.
There's a lot, right? He definitely has a lot on his plate. And we talk about the vaccinations and then also these new policies. He definitely has a big agenda, but this is something important. He doesn't know if he's going to have a Democratic Congress for that long. So he has to try to be as productive as possible in the time that he has.
Also, some job numbers out Friday. They're not quite as good as the White House had hoped. Let's bring in former State Party Chair Robin Winston, who played a key role in the Biden-Harris campaign. Robin, can the administration make all of these things happen in this political climate we're living in right now?
First off, yes, Dan, they can and we will. Keep in mind, anyone watching the show, not one Republican voted for the plans that's resulting in more money to Indiana communities. The jobs report today, while it wasn't as ambitious as we thought, points out more than ever that we need to make sure that we get the next infusion of federal support through to help kickstart this economy, and that the recovery is going to be long. We have a president who is honest in the White House and has told us that.
Finally, former GOP lawmaker Mike Murphy. Mike, you have Republicans, you have Mitch McConnell saying he wants to stand against this White House. He's not for these policies, but your Republican Party also dealing with a number of ongoing situations in Washington, including this controversy with Liz Cheney, perhaps being pushed out of her leadership role. A couple of Indiana lawmakers, Jim Banks, Jackie Walorski, had at one point been mentioned as possible replacements. Doesn't look like that's going to happen now. What do you make of this whole controversy?
Well, first of all, Liz Cheney had voted, I should say, with the Trump administration 93% of the time. I'd say that's a friend of that administration. Her potential replacement, Stefaniak, has voted with the Trump administration about 72% of the time. So about, what is that, 21% difference. That's a big difference in Congress. They're trying to push Liz Cheney out because she tells the truth. That's all there is to it. The role model for all members of Congress and the Senate should be Todd Young. He's working with Senator Schumer on the $100 billion tech bill called, I think it's called the American Frontier Act. He told me 2 days ago it's going to pass the Senate. Obviously, we don't know what happens in the House. But those are the kinds of bipartisan things that we should be doing to push America's economy forward.
Laura, also a struggle ongoing between Republicans at the State House. As we mentioned earlier, Governor Holcomb facing another veto override tomorrow. He also deals with this legal fight with state lawmakers and the Attorney General. It's quite a situation.
It is. And this has been something that's developed really in the last couple of months, this beginning of his second term in office. On one hand, when you have the power, you also have the responsibility. And that's what you see with a Republican governor and a Republican supermajority. Many of these entanglements and conflicts, quite frankly, are pretty understood. There's divisiveness within parties. We have a fake two-party system. It's an umbrella of lots of different ideas and coalitions. I think, people get concerned about this. It's natural. It's a part of party politics. And yet it is really fascinating to see it unfold, particularly in this for months now, ongoing conflict that we see between the governor's office, between Eric Holcomb, and between those within the Indiana General Assembly and our state legislature.
Mike, this is really pretty rare. You served in the General Assembly. What do you think? Are they likely to overturn his veto tomorrow?
Well, there's a couple bills up for veto tomorrow. There's the ethanol bill, and then there's the one that's probably more prominently controversial, which is the one that gives politicians the right to decide health policy in an emergency as opposed to the professional physicians and health officials of each county. I think they are, I don't know about the ethanol bill, it's a little more technical, but I think they are likely to override the governor again on the health bill, the health officials bill. And I don't know if the governor will take that to court or not. I have no idea. But in the end, I don't care which party the governor is in, the governor always wins these things long term. And the legislature goes home and they are not influential for another, 7 or 8 or 10 months, generally speaking. Now this year they have redistricting, which they've set themselves up to be in session forever. But the governor will win this ultimately.
It seems like he's facing an uphill battle, though, at this point. Mike, are you surprised that it's come to this?
Well, I am surprised that the legislators had the temerity to take on the governor of their own party like this. I've been involved in politics for nearly 40 years, and I've never seen this happen between any legislative majority and the governors of the same party. It's just never happened. You have a lot of fights, certainly, but you do it behind closed doors. You come out from a behind the closed doors meeting and you smile and you shake hands and you get the people's work done. This is the first time I've ever seen this.
We even had a candidate for governor this week, Eric Doden, announced early 3 years ahead of the 2024 gubernatorial election. Robin, how do you see all of this playing out at the State House?
Well, first off, I've never seen an incumbent governor be declared a lame duck this early. I mean, they haven't even ordered new stationery and business cards for a lot of people, and there are already people running for governor 3 years in advance in the Republican Party. You have rumors of an attorney general maybe running for governor. It seems to me that none of these resonate back down in Paoli or Bedford or any of the communities of Indiana that are looking for what's your long-term solution to job growth. How are you going to make sure people get immunized? I think those are the real issues that people ought to be focused on, not on who's going to sue who and make attorneys a lot of money.
All of this after an otherwise successful session on a lot of fronts, a lot of new money in the state budget. The governor did also sign a bill making more accommodations for pregnant women in our state, certainly worth noting here on this Mother's Day. Rima, how does your organization view this past legislative session overall?
It was challenging. It was challenging for a number of reasons. We were not in the building due to certain lawmakers not wanting to wear masks amidst a global pandemic. But I don't believe that House Bill 1309, the Pregnancy Accommodations Bill, truly sets Indiana forward. I actually think it sets Indiana back. All it does is an employee can ask their employer for accommodations. Doesn't mean that the employer has to grant them. Again, when people are losing their jobs at such a high rate, and when we have a serious problem here in Indiana around maternal infant mortality, we really have to take a hard look at these bills and think, are they actually doing good for people and addressing the needs of folks, or are they just a rubber stamp to make us feel good about ourselves? And I think it's the latter.
You think the bill was watered down too much, doesn't go far enough in your view?
Absolutely.
Okay. The panel will be back with us here coming up in just a few minutes. But next, this Sunday in Focus, a summer tradition will return to the Hoosier State this year, the Indiana State Fair. We'll hear from organizers up next.